text you.
Don't start the recording yet, Melanie. Give me a couple more minutes.
Thank you.
We want to share.
Yes, we always want to share.
And I'm sitting here because, you know, when I sit in my normal spot, the pole blocks me, so I thought since it's the whole table's entry. Yeah, the whole table's entry because, Maria Lane on the screen. Chilly lunch. Come in and warm up.
Bill, we lost audio.
Do you want to
What's that?
talk during the public meeting? I mean, the public hearing? What are you here for?
I don't know.
How about now?
Yes, I mean,
Back, thank you.
talking about television. Do you want to talk during that time?
And I want to talk about 5G.
Okay,
That's
so,
gonna be,
so we have a public hearing. So we get to talk during the public hearing.
Okay.
Public be heard is for when there's not your topic coming up.
I don't have the
Yeah.
information.
And
for
then,
these
you know,
public
public be
hearings.
heard is at the end of the meeting you talk.
I don't
But there'll be
know
a public
what
hearing,
guys
so you're
need to
talking
schedule
to
these
these
public
topics, so it
hearings.
makes sense for you.
so just,
Not to say it would be held by the
No,
town.
but for public hearings, Bill calls on anybody who's.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna ask you to sit down. We're rolling here. We have a public hearing in a couple of minutes. Melanie, if we lose hearing again, text me. So I'm getting in the habit of just letting people know beforehand, because I find it really rude when people are also on the cell phone. I do occasionally pick this up during the meeting, and it's typically just a contact back and forth with Melanie about the meeting, and whether there are any issues or whether there's somebody who wants to talk. So I'm not disregarding what's being said here or being rude. Quick announcements before we started the meeting. One, we did have an executive session at 6:30. The purpose to interview a candidate for the
Here we go again.
help defray the cost of a new well up in the well fields up in Bearsville.
Yeah.
And just a little shout out to legislator Jonathan Hepner for assisting me with that. The other is another grant. I put in for $100,000 with Senator Michelle Hinchy's office from the dormitory authority. And we'll be receiving that grant. It's going to take 4 to 6 months before we finally get it, but that's all moving forward. So a big thank you to Senator Michelle Hinchy for
What does that
helping with
money
that.
go towards?
That, I'm sorry, that's for the Como project.
Oh,
Yeah. So 2 very nice pieces of information there. We lost. How about now, Melanie?
We can hear
Now
you.
Back. We can hear you.
You can hear? Okay. It's back. Wait, something's fickle there. We're gonna have to rework those wires, I guess, a little bit.
yeah, they're still trying to connect audio. Sandra Linda Lover, or is that just her doing that?
That's her.
Okay.
I mean, she's coming out.
So Jackie, I think we can go ahead and start with the first public hearing is going to be on the wellhead protection amendments to the zoning law.
At a meeting held by the Woodstock Town Board regarding the wellhead protection amendments, the town board scheduled a public hearing, and tonight is the night, so anyone that would like to speak about it, please do.
Go ahead. Hold on, somebody wants to talk about water.
Kim,
Well, I'll talk about it. No. I'm only- God knows I love it.
So do I.
Could somebody explain what that is?
Well, I'll let you were the chief architect of this, and
Well, I will say, I inherited from some chief architects such as Ed Sanders, Ken, I don't recall if you were on the water protection, but certainly Jerry Washington was on the water protection. That team, Jay Wenk was on the water protection. That team working with Steve Winkley, who is a New York State person who, I don't know whether they're officially in New York State, but he's funded, I think, by New York State. Anyway, to look at our wellhead area and to put better protections on it. And that original group from years ago, and I was part of that group years ago as well, had recognized that under the Cuomo is another aquifer that could be used at a later time. If the town needed more water than the current wellheads, under the Cuomo, this aquifer could be used. So the idea was that to protect, not only have better protection, not only for the current wellheads, but also protect the area over here so that Woodstock's water, the people in the water district would have, better quality water in the future, better preserve the quality of the water. What I did bring, and it is online, by the way, is a map. And then we had a group, because that law, it kind of sat for a while. And then with the zoning revision committee, which I'm chair of, we resurrected the law, worked through it. The supervisor appointed a subcommittee to go work on the wellhead protection. And Bennett helped on the subcommittee. We had Judy Kerman, we had Arlene Weissman, Kirk Ritchie, Deborah Dewan were all active members, and myself of that committee. And what we did is we have a map. So if you do go online on the town website, you will see the map that it's red and white, clearly says what properties are protected with this new law. It's a new district being created, the wellhead, water district wellhead protection. So the new overlay, water district wellhead protection overlay, WDWP-O, is the new district being created. This is the district. And so the law describes the district, and then the law also talks about what are the additional protections in there. The other map, the official map that goes with the law, is the red and white map. The other map available is a very colorful map that explains why is it that that's where the line was drawn. It's drawn because there was a Horsley-Witten piece of work done a long time ago that talked about and we call it the Horsley-Witten mitten. It's in the shape of a mitten, but this talks about what needs to be protected for the current wellhead. Some Steve Winkley work showed the aquifer under the Cuomo. So this map explains why did we draw the line where it is. We protect the mitten, we protect what Steve Winkley found. And then when we went to the county and said, how do you like our law? They said, well, we really recommend that you add those properties in the flood zone that are immediately adjacent to our original line. So that's what the yellow is. This is saying what's in the flood area. And so we added those. So this map explains the detail behind this, which is nice and easy to understand because it's red and white. I want to thank absolutely everybody that helped in any way. Jerry Washington passed, Jay Wank passed. They were extremely key in bringing this forward. Ed Sanders, extremely key. The current team was extremely key, who I've already mentioned, who was on that team. And a million thanks to Judy Kerman, who produced, with the help of Steve Winkley, a million thanks to Steve Winkley, who pretty much drafted the law, and a million thanks to Judy Kerman, who brought us these beautiful, easy to read maps so that we know what's going on. So we had wonderful people working all along the way.
So what are the rules that will protect the water?
Well,
Yes.
there's 11-page law.
Oh, heavens.
Yes, there you go. So that, and it explains the rules.
So in essence, we have 7 wells up there. They're all pretty shallow. 25 feet is about the deepest one, maybe 30. So, you know, any contamination could potentially affect those wells. So it's an added layer of protection to secure those. And if there are no more questions, I'm going to recess this public hearing and move to recess and to the call of the chair.
Second,
And
you need a second for that?
no, I'll just recess it.
Okay,
so,
sure.
And I'll plan to have a resolution at our first meeting.
Well, does the
in-
board have anything to say? Because the board's seen this for months.
Right.
Yes.
So I'll plan to have a resolution on the December 13th meeting. Between now and then, if you have any questions, issues or concerns, get a hold of Laura or I.
Okay.
With that, let me go through some resolutions and then at 7:20, 10 minutes, we can move on to the next public hearing. We resolved to accept minutes for meetings held on October 18th, November 1st, November 10th, and November 14th, 2022.
Second, and Jackie, I just a little while ago sent you for October 18th, one comment to add it to the list.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolved to accept the town clerk's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Be resolved to authorize payment of audited vouchers in the amount of $864,605.07.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Because I did not see the vouchers, I will abstain.
Okay, thank you.
And I will abstain as well.
Be resolved to authorize transfers for transfer sheet.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Because I did not see the transfer sheet, I'll abstain as well.
And I will abstain as well.
Whereas the town board held a public hearing on October 18th, 2022 on a proposed local law number 4 of the year 2022. Amendments to the town ethics law, and whereas the public was given the opportunity to offer its opinions on the matter. Therefore, be it resolved to close the public hearing and be it further resolved to adopt local law number 4, the year 2022. Amendments to the ethics law. Be it further resolved, this local law should take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State.
Second.
Discussion.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the board for entertaining the amendment to strengthen this law. I think it's a critical amendment that allows the ethics law to be stronger and to potentially cover really important committees and task forces if the board so decides by resolution. So thank you for that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And could I get the wording updated? That
It should be on the website.
I looked, it's the same one.
Okay. You can have my copy.
Do you want us to show you where it changed?
Well, it was the one that was in question, right?
Well, it was the one, yeah, we,
Thank you.
do you want me to help you find where the change
Oh,
is?
I know where it is.
Okay.
I'll look at
Be
it.
it resolved to appoint Scott Hasty to the Board of Assessment Review, BAR, term to expire September 30th, 2027.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Be it resolved to accept the resignation of Troy O'Connor from the Woodstock Police Department effective November 10th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to promote the following highway employees to MEO grade 3.5 at a rate of $23.74 per hour effective November 12th, 2024. Thomas Domino, Christopher Constant, Tracy Lane, Angela Reynolds, and Carson D. Hoteling.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Just a shout out to those guys. They're really, they're a young crew and they're really gelling together quite nicely. Be resolved to hire William Spencer as part-time grade 4 municipal code officer at a rate of $24.45 per hour effective December 5th, 2022, and be further resolved to hire William Spencer as full-time grade 4 municipal code officer effective January 1st, 2023.
I don't know, Reggie, you want to take that? Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, is it 7?
Now you got a 6-minute check.
Anybody have a joke?
Anybody want to start the council member updates?
Oh, yeah. Well, why don't you,
Oh, why don't I? Well, then, why don't you let somebody else go?
Reggie, do you have,
I don't
you're
think it's
good?
right.
Bennett, do you have any updates?
Yeah, I wanted to point out that the Citizens Against Terramore have been actively working to educate me and other board members about the numerous effects of the resort development on the environment, including the destruction of the wetlands shared by Woodstock and Saugerties. In addition, the Woodstock Day School has now reached out to me and other board members in support of these activities and announced their plans to become an interested party in the seeker process. And I want to call to attention that the Woodstock Environmental Commission's September letter has already urged the board to consider joining the seeker as well. I would urge the town board members to listen to these calls, reach out with any questions, and the town should join the seeker process as the Woodstock Environmental Commission has recommended, as these numerous groups and organizations in our community and our neighbors are calling for us to do.
You're an interested party, Bennett.
Yeah, we are.
I'm calling for us to be an involved agency because the town of Woodstock will have wetlands that will be destroyed as a result.
Yeah,
I would second that.
I've also been doing work on this, and the town of Woodstock is an interested party with the seeker, and the Woodstock Day School has also had their request to be added accepted, so they also are an interested party. And then the group that Susan Painter is part of, where they, the Citizens Against Terramore, that group is also, I spoke with Susan, because I found out the process to become an interested party, interested agency. And so I shared with her the process, and they will also put in their recommendations. So I've also been doing some work on Terramore and been having conversations.
And actually, I was going to, because she and I have spent a lot of time talking about that as the point person on this. So if anybody has questions, concerns, and actually the first, you and I have talked about it a little bit, but one of the things that I think we should really stress to the Saugerties Planning Board is that even though they have their own law, they are right on our border,
Right.
and our zoning requirements and setbacks are quite different.
Right.
And, you know, I feel strongly, I'm sure the rest of the board, although, you know, weigh in, feel strongly that they should respect our law as well. And,
Yeah.
you know, really take it into consideration, particularly along that boundary line.
Right, and I've been, I had a great conversation with Becky. I've also talked with Frank Costello, the supervisor. I know, Bill, you have as well. But in talking with Becky, what I believe that they've been very thorough. I saw the list of all the interested agencies. Their planner was very thorough. They had like a 1 8.5 by 11 page with 3 columns of all the interested agencies. So their planner is trying to be very thorough. I know people are very upset about Terramore, and for valid reason. There are a lot of very valid worries about Terramore, but on the other hand, I will say, like our planning board is great and full of volunteers, their planning board, I believe, is also great. Our planning board secretary is great. From talking to Becky, I believe she also is very dedicated, and they're trying to be very thorough. They're not trying to skirt any processes. They cast a wide net with people they invited to be the interested, in the involved agencies. And the public hearing will probably not be until, it will be at least, it won't be December because they don't have all the act together. It could be January, but it's not a sure thing. Their planning board meets once a month, the 3rd Tuesday of the month, which is kind of our time to meet. But anyway, that's when they meet, is the 3rd Tuesday of the month. And so the public hearing will be at one of their regularly scheduled meetings. So, but what Becky recommended is that people, if they have input, they provide the input early on to give the applicant an opportunity to try to correct the things before the public hearing.
It would seem to me, though, that if that meeting coincides with our meeting, that might be an important one for
It
you
would.
to miss our meeting and go. to that.
Right, so I would let you know, and every now and then our meeting's on the fourth, so we'll see how it turns out.
Okay.
But definitely, but I do feel like they're trying to, we have very legitimate worries, but I do feel like their planning board is trying to do the thorough job and do the right thing. But we want to make sure we're communicating thoroughly.
I want to be very clear. I'm in favor of being an involved agency, not just an interested party. I do believe that this is something that the town board should reach out and consider becoming an involved agency because of the destruction of the wetlands that we share with Saugerties.
I'll look into that, Bennett, but I don't think we have standing to do that, but I will look into it.
Well, I think we are already. I think,
Interested.
well, I think there's the same thing. Involved.
There are two different, there is an interested party and there is an involved agency.
Well, we are involved / interested agencies. We're on that list. And sorry, it's a 2-column list, not a 3-column. It's a 2-column list, 1 8.5 by 11 page. And the involved interested agencies list, we are on it. It says involved / interested agencies. We are on the list.
I think involved would be one that's making a decision. We have no formal decision to make in this. And I think that's the difference. But I will look into that, Bennett.
Thank you.
7:20, Jackie, so we'll call to order the next public hearing.
At a town board meeting, the town board resolved to schedule a public hearing for cell tower amendments for 7:20 PM on this evening. All persons will now be heard.
Okay, we're gonna go around the room. Gonna start with 2 minutes a person. And Steve, I'm gonna let you speak first.
Well, been a long time coming. And by now we know that Andrew Campanelli is very capable and well respected around the country. And he says that this zoning law will be the best in the country and that all other municipalities should model it. So that's a really powerful recommendation on his part. And so I just hope the board goes with the way I'm hoping they're going to go and passes this resolution for the good of Woodstock and for the good of Woodstock neighbors too. When they see Woodstock do it, they're probably going to do it too.
Next,
I
just state your name so Jackie can write it.
I changed my name back to my birth name, Nicole Nevin. Nevin. I just want to say also that, yes, it's been a long time coming. I'm very excited to be here for this. Of course, our hope is that this and that we'll have a new amended law code put into place. At that time, a lot of people will be celebrating and all of the hard work. At least half the people in this room will be celebrating and many, many people that aren't here tonight will be celebrating. So this is a big deal for us. We've put a lot of work into it, and I want to thank anyone else who's been involved on the board for this, push this forward, and a special thanks to Andrew Campanelli, who's not only helping our town to set a precedent, but many, many, many cities and towns throughout the US. So I appreciate the work that he's put into it. I want to especially thank Laura Rickey, who's put her heart and soul into this. I mean, I've seen her, what she's done, the work, and it's been impressive, and she's stuck with it, and she reads everything. And it's been pretty amazing to watch her in action. She's got a very sharp, intelligent mind, and when she puts her heart into something, she makes it happen. So thank you to everyone who's been involved. Hope we get to celebrate. Thank you.
Just to be clear, I don't have a resolution for this tonight, just like the water. I'll, if I have a sense from the board, I'll have a resolution for the 13th to pass it. Okay, so I don't want people walking out disappointed. Okay, but you're welcome. Next, sorry. Go ahead, Abby Mitchell.
Okay. I wrote this letter years ago, and
I want to comment on the fact that invisible does not mean harmless. COVID is an example, over 1 million dead, and of course, radiation. Does no one remember that radiation causes cancer? Also tumors in the brain and heart. Oh, not immediately. It takes 5 to 10 years or more, but is that an excuse? Oh, yes, it also affects fertility and reproduction in all mammals, including humans, as well as plants, and may cause autism, especially in developing minds, i.e. up to 21 years of age. What is wrong with these people who are pushing this? Is it naked greed for profit, or just a lack of intelligence and or caring animals in general? And even plants. we
Abby,
depend on.
excuse me, everyone online, if you can mute and be courteous, because we can hear some people talking. So, sorry, Abby. Go ahead.
And even plants we depend on to eat. Broadband is safely done with fiber optic cable. Please protect us against this 5G evil.
Thank you, Abby.
I highly recommend adopting Mr. Campanelli's proposals.
Thank you. Weston, Blaylock?
I remember standing up before the board in 2017, talking about this issue. So it's been a 5-year haul. I want to thank Steve, Nicole. I want to thank the ZRC and particularly Laura, really for sticking on it and working so hard to make everything correct, talking and conferring with Andy Campanelli. It's a long process, but I thank you very much. I thank Ed, and I thank the CRC. And I know that this bill, there's a lot of heart and soul, as Nicole has spoken about. It's well written and it's ready to go. And I hope that the town board have any questions, they ask you about it, but it passes muster and is passed soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Jeff Collins. I want to thank Steve Ryan for bringing this up. I want to thank Mr. Campanelli for doing all the edits that he did. I want to thank Ed Sanders for working through it. I want to thank Laura for reading every single word of a very, very, very long law. I'm sure that's exactly right. As a member of the ZRC, I saw all it happening in real time, and it was definitely a long process and a long haul. It's great that we have such a great law. I don't understand it. I have to admit that. But those that do say it's a good law. And yes, thank you very much.
I think it's a good law. I agree. I mean, it took time to get here, and but this is also one that potentially could face challenges from rich companies. So we had to make sure we got it right. So thank you, Jeff. Next.
Hi, Rex Funk. I just wanted to say that I think we have a historic opportunity here to join the list of towns that are adopting legislation like this. An ordinance that allows, in Andrew Campanelli's words, it vests in the town the maximum authority to regulate the responsible placement of wireless infrastructure. Because without this, they might be able to just put it wherever they want, and you should have a say in that. So, I want to, of course, thank Laura for all her diligent work on this. And I know one thing that Andrew Campanelli mentioned was that there needs to be an officer in place who understands this law and can use it effectively to, achieve the goals that Woodstock has around. Because small cells are being put right next to homes, and it's really an untested technology. That is really important.
Well, Butch will be on that, and we just hired a helper for him tonight. So
Okay.
thank you, Rex.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Iris? Ken? Who's next to Ken? I can't see back that far.
I'm just at the meeting. I mean, I just, just pass it.
Okay.
Lives depend on it.
Pat?
Because lives depend on it. Life of this planet.
What is her name?
Julia.
Yeah. Pat? Oh, no, I'm sorry, who's in front of you, Pat?
Lucia.
Say, I just wanted to thank the committee, I'll tell you what I said, it. Thank the committee for this long process of where you're at now is very far from where we started. And Steve and all this crew, Rex, everybody that's been in on this for so long. Let's do this thing, it's really important, and we need this to spread to the neighboring communities. I'm living in Hurley, so I'm hoping that we're gonna do the same once you've set this precedent. Working downstate and seeing them on every other house front. But now they're putting them on buildings, so on the roofs of buildings vertically. But yesterday I actually saw 3 of these very wide, 8 foot by 4 foot piece of plywood. 3 of them against the wall of an apartment, right next to a window, 2 on one side. When someone lives there, on the other side of that wall, and the building was covered with them. So, to prevent Woodstock from going there, I mean, I can't imagine the harm, just going up and down Broadway, all the new poles that they put up that have the CMF capacity to do a lot of things. And it's happening all around, and you don't even realize what it looks like. But, there's a reason, it's not just for high speed, that they can surveil the communities. I think that's a piece of the puzzle. So I appreciate the long way you've come. And that would stop being the beacon, because if not us, who?
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Jackson, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say I'm also very grateful for all the hard work that's been put into it. And it's, I just wanted to be here for this historic occasion.
It will be really historic on the 13th.
I'll be back. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Very good.
I don't know what everybody said before I got here.
I need a name.
Yeah.
Oh, Liz.
Shapiro.
Yes.
I speak?
Yeah.
But
Can I
please,
speak?
no, please mute yourself. Oh, I'll get to online next. So let me interrupt you for 1 second. If everyone could go into the group chat online and give Melanie your name, she will text me and then I'll call on you in that order. Okay, I'm going to restart your time clock. Go ahead, Liz.
Okay, it's like 2 minutes.
2 minutes. I'm going to tap on the table when we got 15 seconds left. Go.
Because I'm so affected by wireless technology, this is extraordinarily personal to me. I have a friend I grew up with who's living in my hometown where they just put a 5G cell in front of her home, in front of her bedroom. 15 or 20 feet from her and her husband's bedroom. And I am beyond horrified because I know the effects of this. I'm so unbelievably grateful to live in Woodstock, where people get it. Listening to Stuart Lipkin talk, the site developers, he has educated himself along with everybody else. And the fact that we got Andrew Campanelli is also kind of unbelievable to me because he's just at the top. He understands from a legal point of view what our options are, just like when the town retained control of the tower and the land under it, it gave us such an advantage. This will give us such an advantage. And it's both personal for me and for everyone who lives here and works here and visits here. And I am beyond grateful for all the hard work you put in. Laura, I've heard a ton about what you've done, but everybody who just gets it, thank you so much.
All right, Nan?
Hi, I'm Diane Fish. I wanted to thank Steve and Nicole and Rex for their leadership throughout this movement. Thank you, Town Board, for hearing our voices for many, many, many years. We really appreciate it, and we trust in you to do the right thing. We represent, my daughter Natani and I represent 22 businesses that are against 5G. Unfortunately, they do not like to be on email chains, but I assure you there are 22 valid businesses that are against 5G in Woodstock. We're known as the most famous small town in the world. There was a New York Times article about that. So if we stand against 5G, there will be a ripple effect that needs to happen across the world. There is no doubt that 5G is harmful. We know that we cannot pass any laws based on the harmful health effects of it. But I know that Andrew Campanelli's, I've read all of his recommendations and totally agree to adapt them. Thank you.
Thank you. Jane?
Hi, yes, dittoing. Just thank you so much to Nicole, Steve, and Rex for all of the work and everyone else. I just wanted to share just personally, 3 years ago, I moved out of New York, Greenwich Village apartment, and I moved out of New York City due to 5G, and I get very, very sick from, I get migraines that I stay in bed all day from the 5G on the corner of my apartment on 9th Street between 5th and 6th. So, I moved to Woodstock to get away from it and bought a home on Library Lane. And, I just think that it's also going to tremendously help the real estate value here even more so. And I am in the world of press and PR. And, once this hopefully does get approved, people like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's very against us, I can get this to for our town and to do some tremendous articles on it, celebrating, who we are as a community together. And that can be done very soon. So I'm very much looking forward to hopefully the positive results on the 13th. And just thank you so much again.
Thank you. Is there anyone else online that wish to speak?
Paula Williams.
Hello.
Go ahead. State your name.
Williams.
Paula Williams.
First, thank you for this opportunity, this hearing, and again to Nicole and Steve and Andrew and everybody who's put so much into this. I just want to weigh in briefly that I feel like the telecom industry just wants to push and push and push, and it's really about greed. And the more they can push, they find all kinds of reasons and excuses why we have to have the internet. And if we were to step back in time into the 1990s when cell phones and the internet was first introduced, and we saw where it was going to lead us, and we were asked if this is the way we wanted to conduct our future, I don't think people would be so on board. We see how it's usurping our time. We have less and less time with our families, less and less time in person. So I think that this move is great, that we have an opportunity to say, let's hasten slowly here, and perhaps other people can look at this and do the same thing, and we can, as a people, actually have a voice against one of the greediest industries in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that hasn't had an opportunity to speak that would wish to speak? Okay, so I'm going to recess the public hearing to the call of the chair. I'm going to do something a little different than I usually do, and I'm just, because I know a lot of anxious people here, so I'm just going to ask the board. I intend to offer a resolution on the 13th of our first meeting, and I in favor of adopting this law, and I intend to vote yes for it.
Okay. Well, I intend to vote yes. I'd like to say a few words because as chair of the zoning revision committee, and the journey that, as Weston talked about, it's been a 5-year journey. I want to say a specific thank you to Steve Romine. I know, Steve, you worked with Weston and Nicole and Rex Gabor. goes back, sorry, Rex. I know that you and the people that you work with, you saw it before the town board did, and you were persistent. You came, and then you came, and then you came, and then we got it. And then you brought in Andrew Campanelli, who I would say was fabulous, because Andrew Campanelli, he keeps on, even as he wrote our law, he would make updates. In my conversations with him, he would say, well, I know that here's a case over here. I'm waiting to hear how this case turns out because I can add this to the law, or I've already added this to your law because I think I know how that case is going to turn out. I mean, it's a moving target, and he was with it the whole way. Very thorough law. If you haven't read it, it's a 49-page law. I call it a 50-page law, but it's 49, I think. It's a 49-page law, very thorough, very well organized. It's long, but it's well organized. So once you figure out how it's organized, you can quickly find what you're looking for in that law. And so I would call it kind of a tag team, because I know, Steve, you brought us Andrew, then Andrew was there. Andrew had the law, it came to the zoning revision committee. We all reviewed it together. And as I think some of you have mentioned, I did read every word of it. I read every word of it. And if there was something that didn't make sense, I went back to Andrew. I didn't change things by myself. I made sure Andrew agreed with everything. And there were one or two things that he did a fabulous job, but there are a few things that need to be updated to make it right for Woodstock. I mean, he did what made sense to somebody who doesn't live here, but if you live here, there are certain things didn't make sense. And so we were able to, the whole thing I would call collaboration. If I were to pick one word to describe the journey, it is collaboration. Because Steve, you collaborated with the town board said, yes, we're gonna join in with Andrew Campanelli, zoning revision committee got it. You all were at the meeting, zoning revision committee with Andrew, we all had meetings together, and this law evolved based on that journey. So collaboration and the journey that got us there. I feel excellent about it. And it's always better. You feel better when there was so much support along the way, and everybody in this room was so supportive, either, certainly in spirit, you're all supportive. And then some people were actually there making it happen. So a lot of people made it happen, including the zoning revision committee. I know Jeff is part of that. Ed Sanders is part of that. A lot of eyes took a look at this, and I feel great about it because of all the teamwork and collaboration that brought it to where it is.
I would just add to, Andrew was great to work with. There were some times when it was a little hard to get a hold of, and it was some time in between phone calls, but they were always very productive phone calls. And I'm happy to say that I've probably referenced him to at least a half dozen other communities that are looking to do the same thing. So, Reggie?
Just quickly, I haven't been involved at all recently, but I was glad to be a part of some of the earlier yeses that helped us get to this point. Certainly, Steve championed Andrew Campanelli big time, and Nicole, many of you, Rex also, the amount of emails received and phone calls over these, 3-4 years, I think. Has it been? I think it took 2018 when I was first on the board. So it came up then. So I'll be happy to be a final yes to get this far.
Thank you, Reggie. Maria Elena?
No, I'm a yes, of course.
And Bennett?
I would just like to point out a cautionary note. I feel that it is not wise for the town board to only pay a small portion of the freight of somebody who we are relying on to advise us. I would prefer that the town pay for the full amount of the legal services that Mr. Campanelli has offered, but I was not a part of the board when that happened and when that decision was made. I certainly don't believe that the town board should be sharing in this kind of legal cost with interested parties. I believe that if the town board is as committed as we all have seen tonight to being in the forefront, we should be paying for the full cost of the legal services of Mr. Campanelli. So I would just offer as a cautionary note that going forward, this type of legal sharing is something that I completely oppose and would be in favor of paying the full cost of Mr. Campanelli's legal services, not just paying a portion of them, but that has already been decided. I will say that I do appreciate his work, and I appreciate the zoning revision committee's work, and I appreciate the work of the advocates who have been here for almost 10 years working to make this happen. I certainly believe that the town should be paying for those legal services. I'll vote yes for the resolution, but I am completely dismayed that the town will not take its financial obligations seriously and pay for the legal services and ask individual citizens to do that work for us.
Thank you, Bennett. There has been precedent in the past where the town and various entities got together and did share costs, more commonly defending lawsuits, but there was precedent for that. In any event, folks, you've heard that the intention of the board on the 13th is to support this. So with that, I have two more resolutions that I'm going to offer that aren't on the agenda. Be it resolved to appoint Angela Pasternak to the Woodstock Human Rights Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Because I wasn't able to be part of that interview.
And be it resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract with Hot Water Solutions to install a dishwasher in the community center. Can I have a second for purposes of discussion?
Second.
The one thing that I talked about with Maria Elena earlier today, their solution about running conduit on the outside, I'm a little anxious about. So I'd like permission to sign this, but I would like to meet with them and Maria Elena and just make sure that it aesthetically and functionally is best suited. So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
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 So Reggie, did you have anything member items you wanted to talk about? Maria Elena, did you have anything that?
No, I just want to say thank you because I know this has been a long time coming. And when I met with the gentleman from Hot Water Solutions to take a look for the estimate for the installation of the dishwasher at the community center, I unbeknownst to me, there was already a group of seniors that were meeting inside there. And so that gave me an opportunity just to, chat with them and let them know, what our plans were. And they were really excited to hear that the Office for the Aging, is offering this weekly lunch program for them. And I think that, having gone through pandemic and having limited resources, I think something like this, it's really going to open up, more opportunities for our senior community and also to also extend the invitation to the whole community. People can start to get involved in many ways, and we can offer all kinds of, lunch and learn, services, talks about all kinds of issues that affect the senior community. So I think if anything, it's just going to bring a lot more people together. So thank you.
Thank you. And Ben, I know you spoke before. Did you get everything that you wanted?
No, I spoke about becoming an involved agency in the Terramore, and I would just like to urge the town board to consider becoming an involved agency, not an interested party, and not an involved party, but an involved agency.
I will look into that. Okay. And Laura.
We discussed Terramore because that was on my list. Of course, the telecommunications law is on my list, and we know how that's going. That's good. Water protection law is on my list. We know how that's going. That's looking great. The Housing Oversight Task Force is the other thing we're working on. And so we're continuing to have our meetings on the Housing Oversight Task Force. Version 2 it's drafted and being looked at. So anyway, so version 2 has come together and is having some finishing touches before the town board sees it. So the Housing Oversight Task Force will be back in front of the town board with an executive overview and the version 2 over the coming weeks.
Thank you. And one last bit of business, the housing committee is in need of a liaison. Reggie, I'd like to appoint you liaison to that committee. And
To the housing committee.
Housing committee, yes. And with that, I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanksgiving.
Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. And Bennett, have a safe trip back. You'll be back for Thanksgiving. You're gonna be down there for a while.
It remains to be seen. I hope to be back soon.
Have a safe trip home.
Thank you.
Thank you for